cable up at the top of the mast, and we're gonna change the wind vane. This is the old wind vane, and I've already got the new wire fed up on a halyard, so I can pull this sucker up. I'm gonna drop this thing. I'm gonna try and land it on the dock finger. Oops. You found the red part? Cool. Just pull it out on deck and then let me have this part here. Well, one of the old holes lined up. Got it. Calibrate that in the I-70. It's stuck. Okay, stop. So we got the wind vane wire pulled down the mast, pulled down the compression post actually, all the way to the bilge, and now I've got a buttload of wire to sort out. I need to come up here with the rest of the wires. So this is the wind transducer wire. Right down here is where I'm going to mount the transducer converter. So I've got a bunch of wire. This one here is the depth sounder and speed transducer. So I need to take care of that. So let's mount the instrument transducer converter mounted below the settee. Now all I gotta do is strip and crimp all the little connectors that go to this thing. So once you get the ITC5 installed, then all you do is plug it in. Plug in all the little wires. So once you got everything where you like it, snap on the cover. Last thing you need to do, hook up the backbone cable. So here's the Raymarine backbone. And I think the terminal goes up like this. Plug it in. There we go. Locked in. There you go. There's the backbone connection to the ITC5. Alright, so I got the backbone cable pulled in from the ITC converter, the transducer converter. Bring it up here. And these are 5-way blocks that do backbones and spurs and also act as a feed for the power supply. This is Raymarine's proprietary connector. These things just plug in, and then you rotate this locking nut, and there it is. It's locked in. These things require a backbone terminator. Anytime you run a backbone blue cable, then once you hit the end of the line, you have a terminator. Up here, to get from jumper block to jump for these 2 5-ways that I got installed, I had to do a short backbone cable up to here to keep the signal going all the way to here. The white cable goes to the I-70S that I mounted in the electrical panel. This is power in, the red and black. That's the power cable. So that goes in. All right, so this is the back of our electrical panel. The third breaker down on the front side is all of our sailing instruments. What I need to do is take this power from battery and run it up to here. I need to put a ship's ground, or the DC negative, and also the ship's ground terminal on this bus. Don't forget the fuse holder. Ray Marine runs off a 5 amp fuse because of the wire size. The tiny little red wire, 22 gauge. Got to install a fuse. So this is the back of the i70S. It came with a cable ferrite, which helps reduce radio interference noise. So I installed that on the cable, and then all you do is twist and lock. There it is. So then all the repeater instruments that I mounted on the cockpit bulkhead wall, they just plug in like this with the spur cables. And it looks like I'm going to have to build a cabinet or something around here to conceal all this crappy wiring. Now I've got a really long spur that's 3 meters long, and that's going to have to go back to the electrical panel where it hooks into that 5-way coupler that I showed you earlier. All right, so I got the spur cable for the repeaters pulled through, and all you got to do now, plug it in, twist it, lock it, good to go. Looks like we got it. So it goes through a startup, then it takes a few seconds and it will start receiving data from the transducers. There we go, 5.7 feet. So I already programmed this off camera with a little bit of I set up the menu, kind of how I like it and how we want to utilize it. So the first menu screen is depth. And depth is really important to us because we're out here in the Delta with a lot of shoals. I already did the calibration based on the depth of the keel from the water line to where the transducer is, and then from the transducer to the bottom of the keel, it's about another 3 feet. Our boat from the water line draws 5 foot 8 inches. Subtracted half of that, the keel's about 3 feet deep, and you go into menu and you go into all your setup, and you can set transducer setup. So the ITC5 details, depth offset. So you program depth offset from keel, offset minus 3 feet. So it'll go 3 feet deeper than where the transducer is located to give you your actual keel depth. So select that, select. So what I got set up is this. First menu comes up as depth. Next one, apparent wind angle and apparent wind speed. Right now the wind is coming about 120 degrees off of our bow at 3.1 knots. We got depth here. The next page would be heading and speed. So the heading, right now we're pointing 165 due south. That's the magnetic compass I installed down below in the bilge. Next page, there you go, 164. I need to recalibrate this 164 actually to read magnetic, because that's what the compass on our helm is reading, is 164. So when I set this up, I calibrated it to 164 and mistakenly set it for true, not magnetic. Next one would be the AIS. So when you go to main menu, quick options, data, quick view, you can go to display settings, favorite pages. So you go to favorite pages and you go to add a new page, and then it asks you, what do you want to see? 6 items, full screen, 3 items, 3 items with the smaller items located on the left or on the right. You can go with 2 items, which is a split screen 2/3, 1/3, or vice versa on the left. And you could go 3 divided up this way, shared brightness. You can turn this up or down, and what that does is all the repeaters out in the cockpit also share the same brightness level. You can unshare it so that this one displays differently than the ones out in the cockpit. Also, data quick view. If you have battery sensors and other NMEA 2000 things hooked up into your system, it'll tell you oil temperature, oil pressure. It'll tell you water temperature. Environment tells you air temperature, barometric pressure. If you have all these transducers hooked into the system, this thing reads a lot of information. You can set alarms. You can set a drag alarm if it detects that you are dragging off your anchor. Setup, you got to go through an initial programming. They give you a boat length, what kind of boat, sail or power boat. So you can actually go through here and do colors. Inverse color changes the display to look like that. Then you can also do red on black. Then all of your gauges will be displayed like this, red on black. So these are the repeater gauges out in the cockpit, and they pretty much register everything that is happening at the nav station on the I-70S. The wind transducer works great. So it's reading the wind angle coming from the east right now. We're facing south at 2.5 knots. Feet of depth under the keel is 5.5 feet, roughly, right about there. Everything's working pretty good. All right, that's pretty much it for the electronics install. We got the transducers ran and climbed the mast and installed the wind vane and everything. So real simple plug and play setup. Yeah, so if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You can find us on Instagram at SV_RambleOn. Yeah, you can also find us on Facebook at SVRambleOn. And you can find us on our website at SVRambleOn.com. Thanks for watching.